Today we're going to be talking about conflict resolution. This is something you requested?
Yeah.
Why did you want to talk about conflict resolution?
It's very important because conflicts arise all the time.
Yeah. What are some conflicts you've had recently? Ugh.
One of the conflicts was related, for example, to the date of this exam.
Ooh.
It was an idea to do that, for example, on Saturday, but it wasn't possible for many people, so we stick to the plan and we did it on Friday.
Okay, so you had a scheduling conflict.
Yes.
Anything else? Any other conflicts? Okay, well, we're going to talk about it more later, so I want you to just think about the conflicts that are happening in your life right now. As it says on the screen, my name is Loren. I'm an English language fellow here at Aleksander Moisiu for this semester and last semester. So, hi. So I didn't make up any of this stuff. I cited a source. And my main source was this book. I really like this book. It's a thin book. It's called How to Communicate Effectively and Handle Difficult People. All people are difficult, even you. We can all be aggressive, frustrated, angry, and that's where conflict comes from. We'll talk about this a little bit more. But I highly suggest this book, and at the end, if you'd like to email me, I can give you a PDF copy of this book. Before we get started, there are certain fundamental rights that have been set forth by the United Nations, the UN. Do you know the UN?
Yeah.
Yes, teacher. The UN has created these as fundamental rights that all humans experience. So, or hopefully all humans should be able to experience in a perfect world. So the one is the right to be treated with respect. What does this mean? Good. Friday afternoon's a great time. What does it mean to treat somebody with respect?
To treat him like you want to be treated?
Yeah, to be treated like you want to be treated, the golden rule. But how do you treat somebody with respect? How do you do that?
Speak slowly.
Yeah, maybe speak slowly or speak at their level. You know, don't yell at them. Don't try to condescend. Yeah, no threatening voices. Yeah, that's great.
Look them in the eyes.
Yeah, look, good eye contact. Great, yeah.
Induce them the idea that they have your focus.
Yeah, show them that they have your attention, your focus. This is good. That leg, right? What else?
Great family.
Oh, yeah, to have a family, yeah. To maybe marry the person that you love or you want to be with in partnership for your life, yeah. I love this one, the right to say no without feeling guilty.
Yeah, no judgment.
Yeah, this is perfect, judgment. Have you
Setting
ever...
your boundaries.
Yeah, setting your own boundaries. I love this because we're going to talk about this a little bit more. But what does it mean to say no without guilt? Has anyone ever said no and felt very guilty about it? What happened? What was going on?
Well, you believe that you are, hurting someone's feeling. That's why.
Hurting someone. Yeah, but how did you hurt somebody's feeling? Can somebody give me a personal example from their life? Okay, I'll give you one from mine. Start it off this way. So my mother really wants to come and visit Albania. She really wants to come. And she wants to stay for a while. She wants to come here for 1 month. Ooh, I'm so lucky. But my mom is a lot to handle. She doesn't travel very often. She's not good with other languages. I'm a little afraid she's going to yell at people in English and try to be like, I want Borak! And just keep on doing that until somebody gives her Borak or something. So I have a little bit of a guilt thing with saying, maybe 1 week is a good amount of time, or 2 weeks. A month might be a lot. I feel a lot of guilt about that, about saying no, or like you said, setting that boundary. Does anyone else have one like this, where they've said no, but they feel guilty? I'll get it out of you, Luke. Aha. The right to get what we pay for. What does this mean?
Basically, hoping that the thing that you are paying for meets your expectation.
Yeah. In Albania, can you return things? If you order something online and it doesn't work when it comes to you, can you return it? It depends. It depends. What does it depend on?
It depends on where you purchase.
Maybe what do you mean? It depends on where you purchase.
Yes, it depends on their policy.
Aha. So each different place might have a different policy. And how do you know if some place has a good policy before you buy?
Well,
It is announced in their webpage, for example.
Webpage, they announce their policy. Maybe also word of mouth. Other people tell you.
Reputation that they have created through
Reputation. Yeah. So this is really important. If you don't get what you pay for, you get scammed.
Absolutely.
Do you know this word? Scammed?
You get scammed a lot.
Yeah. So no one likes that feeling of being scammed, that they paid more for something they didn't want or didn't expect or didn't work. So this is a right of just cooperative communication. You have the right for your opinions to differ from other people. This is really hard to live with. Most countries have people that have different beliefs, different values, different priorities living within the same borders. We have this big problem in America. In the news, you'll see Democrats versus Republicans constantly fighting. But you have the right in America to have your own opinion. Is it the same in Albania? Do you have fighting?
Yes.
You never agree with each other. It's like a historical thing, right? From the beginning of Illyrian times. Okay. Yeah, but being able to have those differences and protect each other's beliefs is really important in order to make a cooperative society. And the right to take care of or protect yourself and your family. Do you have that right here? Do you have the right to protect your family?
Yeah, we think so.
I think so.
If you can protect your family, what can you protect?
Yeah. Are you allowed to harm somebody that comes into your house to hurt you or your family?
Well, you can consider that as self-defense.
Exactly. Do you have the right to self-defense?
Yes.
As they say, kill or be killed, right? So
Exactly. Ooh, good, yeah.
Or in my home, and it's my right.
Yeah.
Protect myself.
And so that's a really, really important thing. And we can really relate to that when it comes to physical things, right? Somebody attacking us, like you said, an intruder or something like that. But what about your mental health? Do you have the right to your mental health? Do you have the right to make your own choices about your life? Or do your parents and your family have a big control over that?
Yes, young people have a lot of pressure from the society, from their families.
Exactly. This is not different from anywhere else in the world, especially in America. So these are the type of things that I want us to talk about, because the only way that we can get through these kinds of conflicts is to work with each other through cooperative communication. So let's just start by talking about it. Okay. So I want you to put your phones towards the screen and just take this little poll here. Just scan that QR code. The prompt is going to ask you, which are your most common communication conflicts? So, are you having conflicts with your family? That would be your parents, your siblings, your extended family, aunts, uncles, nieces, nephews, grandparents. Conflict with friends. Conflict with maybe a superior at work. Can everybody?
it's hard, We have to come a little bit closer because he doesn't recognize it.
Do you need to come closer? You can get out of your seats if you want to.
Okay, got it.
up being more difficult than I thought. I thought this was going to be a little bit easier. That's fine. Why don't we do it by raising our hands? We'll do it old-fashioned, analog style. So if your biggest conflict is with your family or your siblings, your relatives, raise your hand. If the people you fight with the most are your family, raise your hands. Oh, solidarity, sister. That's my biggest fight. What about conflict with your friends? Feel that? Conflict with teachers or your supervisors, maybe your bosses at work. Okay, now we got some hands. And what about conflicts about values or beliefs? Okay, that's more of the people. All right. This is probably these two are probably the hardest to reconcile. Because you can get rid of friends. Bye. And you can get a different job. The semester ends, you get a new teacher. But these two you're kind of stuck with for life. So why do we have conflict? There's many reasons why we have conflict, but most conflict pretty much boils down to this: a power imbalance. What kind of relationships have a power imbalance?
In the job environment, for example, with
Sure.
your supervisor.
Yeah, worker, boss. Yeah, what else?
Teacher, student.
Teacher, student. What about ones outside of the university?
Yes. Also, that it depends on your job, for example.
Yeah.
If someone has a more important job,
Ooh.
is in a high position of power.
Yeah, different levels of power at work. Yeah. Co-workers, parents and children.
People and politicians.
People and the politicians, right? There's rules for they and rules for us, right? Any other power imbalances? What about power imbalances between countries?
That too, yeah.
Yeah, so it's not just at the individual level. It can be at the systemic and societal level. Limitation of resources. This is the biggest one. And resources can be anything. It could be money. It could be time.
It could be knowledge.
Ooh, nice. When somebody wants something that you have or you want something that someone else has, there's conflict, usually. Incompatibility of goals. What does that even mean?
I have a little baby, she's crying.
Okay,
Bye.
good job. What are goals?
Does it refer to the idea that different people have different
Something
goals,
to achieve.
and there's something that doesn't seem right in them?
Yeah, I mean, for example, in the US, there's a state, it's a big state, it's called Texas, and they're always threatening to leave the United States. Always. They're constantly saying, we want out, we can be our own country. That's a conflict because America wants to be one big 50-state union. They don't want Texas to leave, but Texas wants to leave. So their goals are different. Texas wants to be individual, America wants to be united. There's a problem. Also goals. Maybe you're dating somebody, right? You're dating a guy or a girl, and they're like, I'm just here to Netflix and chill. I ain't trying to put no ring on it, right? So like that's a problem too. If somebody wants to get married, have a relationship, settle down, buy a house, and the other person wants to travel around the world as a single person, those are different goals. Yeah. Communication challenges. What's the problem here?
Because if you have poor communication skills, it becomes a real problem.
Sure, or different languages.
Absolutely, yeah.
Different cultures, different ways to say things, right? In certain countries, it's not appropriate to shake hands. You know, it's more appropriate to bow. In certain cultures, it's not appropriate to look people directly in the eyes. Even here in Albania, you know, you don't want to go around looking people in the eyes too long.
Yes.
Start a fight, right?
the trigger.
Yeah, exactly. So even like body language communication can be a problem. Also, you have the problem of different languages, right? If somebody speaks a different language, they don't understand you, things get lost in translation. And of course, differences in beliefs and values. Does anyone here have different beliefs and values than their parents?
Of course we have. We are two different generations.
Are you speaking for the whole class?
I suppose, because
Okay.
we're young. And
I like that. Go for
I
it.
don't think anyone can be the exact version of their parents. I don't think that is possible. However, me and my parents, we have a completely different beliefs and values.
Yeah.
I believe in things that they cannot even
Imagine.
imagine. So
Yeah.
we have a conflict.
I agree. You know what that's called? It's called being
Yes,
the
I
black
am
sheep.
the black sheep of the
Yeah.
family. Yes, I am.
Black sheep unite.
Proudly.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, so if you're somebody different from the rest of your family, if you're the one that does things differently or thinks differently from the rest of people in your group, you're the black sheep. But then again, this causes a lot of conflict. There's a lot of guilt, there's a lot of frustration, anger, tension, and it continues. So there's tons of ways to communicate ineffectively. One of the things that causes an ineffective communication is using you language. For example, you need to do this now. It's your fault. This happened because of you. What does that make you feel?
Guilty.
Yeah, guilty,
Very patronizing behavior.
patronizing. Yeah, it makes you really defensive. So you're putting people on the back foot.
Getting gaslighted.
Yeah. It could, yeah, sure. If you say this to somebody enough and you try to get them to think like that. Also, using directives, making someone feel like they're your servant or they're underneath you. You have to understand what I'm saying. You must do this. Making ultimatums. If you don't, then I'll do this. These are ways to get people really defensive and not want to collaborate with you. So what can we do to change this? Also, I'm really guilty of this. My husband will tell you this is my absolute worst trait as a wife. I use a lot of universal statements. You always leave the dirty laundry in the hamper. You never do the dishes. You never take out the trash. I always make the bed. It's not true, but I like to say it because it puffs up my point. But it's not true. And when I say things like that in general like that, and I use words like, again, never, always, that makes somebody not believe you because you're not telling the truth. You're exaggerating. I have another one. So which kind of ineffective communication do you do most? Who uses a lot of you statements? Anyone? Oh, thanks, Carol. What about using directives? Telling people what they have to do or what they must do? A little bit? Yeah. What about universal statements? So guilty. Or are you perfectly communicating all the time with everyone? Liar! Liar! No, nobody does it perfectly all the time. We're all learning. Okay, so one of the best ways to start off with effective communication is to be soft on the person, but hard on the incident, hard on what you want them to change or what you want to work on in the conflict. So ways to get around this is by affirming the other person. Saying things like, you're a really great mother, or you know I love you, Dad. You mean everything to me. You've always been a really good friend. But, yet, yeah, we're gonna talk about that a little bit later. Also, if you're in a partnership with somebody like a coworker or somebody you're working on a presentation with, It's really helpful to say all the good things. Start out with something that they've been doing well. Like, I know you're trying your best as a coworker. I see the effort you've put in. Affirm your relationship. Make sure that you're letting them know, I want to keep this going even though we're having a conflict. Also, another thing, if somebody's getting really emotional, it's really helpful to validate their feelings. If you see somebody getting angry or upset, say like, I see this is making you upset. I see you're scared.
Or I understand what you're going through.
Exactly.
No, you don't.
Yeah.
But you still say that.
Well, it's important to kind of say what you mean. Don't lie. And if you don't believe that, you can say something else. Choose another one. And also, if you're working with somebody, especially people that you work with, it's really good to bring up the common goal. If you're having trouble with a coworker, I really like working with you. We work really well together, but we got to work on this, or we need to talk about this. Or I really want to continue being your partner. I really value the effort you've put into this project. However, we've got to talk about this. Okay. So let's look at this. We've got an ineffective communication here. If you just tell somebody you're wrong, that's not helpful. It's using you language. You're kind of using wrong, which is just not good. It's a negative word. It's name calling. So let's look at these. Which one of these three do you think is the best rephrase to make it better communication? Number one.
The second one, I believe.
Okay. All right. Who thinks it's the first one? Nobody? Second one, raise your hand. Okay. Third one? Okay. Oh, it's number 2. Oh, that's good. Let's talk about it. So, first one is not good. Your idea seems flawed. I have another idea. No. Don't add on to the you're wrong and tell them then they're flawed. That's not going to help anything. Let's look at number 3. I like your idea, but I have a better idea. So you're telling me my idea isn't good, and you're better. Conflict. This one, I hear what you're saying. I'm hearing you're validating their experience. I heard you, and I have another idea. I have another idea. You're just bringing it up like, ooh, I heard what you said. Now listen to what I have to say. Now you can get on more equal footing. Does this make sense? Next one. Let's look at this. You never do your work on time. You're lazy. Now we're criticizing the people's actions here. How they do the work, we're using generalizations, universals, never, and then on top of that, you're calling them lazy. Not good. How can we rephrase this? Number 1, your work is late. Can I help you? Ooh, number 2, I noticed you haven't submitted your work. Do you have a problem? Or number 3, I know, oh, they're all number 1. Great, fabulous. I noticed you haven't submitted your work. Is there an issue? Which one of these?
The third one looks nice.
Ooh, tell me why you think I said that.
Yeah, it's like in the more polite way.
Why?
Maybe.
What's going on with the language?
We use the phrases. It's like, is there an issue?
Uh-huh.
It's not like, do you have a problem? Like, I don't know how to explain it.
No, you did it. You explained it. That's exactly what's up. So your work is late. Can I help you? Why is that a problem? Why don't you want to offer help?
Because it's their job.
Exactly.
Because it's
That's going to build resentment. If somebody doesn't do something and you just move in to help them, they don't learn. They don't learn how to be a partner. So don't just rush in and say, I'll do it. You'll do everybody's work. And then there's no time for you and your hobbies and your relaxation and your peace of mind. Have you submitted your work yet? Do you have a problem? What's the problem here? Problem. right? Don't go into it saying, I notice you have a problem. I'm Superman and I'm gonna save you. No, you're not there to be Superman for other people. You can tell somebody, like, I noticed you haven't gotten this done, and just ask, what's up? Why isn't it happening? Tell me what it is. And then you have a place to move on from there. We're not gonna do this poll either, but I statements are a really good way to start a conversation. If you have to have a conversation with somebody about a conflict, or you're gonna bring up something that might lead to a conflict, starting off with your own feelings and your own experiences is a really good way to do it. Instead of pointing out what they're doing wrong, explain how you feel. And there's tons of ways to say this. I think, I believe, I'd like, I'd prefer, I'd appreciate. There's so many different ways to go about this. What kind of I statements do you use when you're talking to people?
I believe.
Uh-huh.
I would like.
I think. Mm-hmm.
I think.
Yeah. Yeah, those are really good. They're nice and neutral. When you talk about I think and I feel, these are really nice because they're subjective. They're not objective. So you're just giving an opinion. You're not coming at them with facts or anything like that. Okay. So let's see how we could end these. We're going to do a little bit of a brainstorming activity here. For the first one, a coworker hands in a part of her work late. You need to tell her this. You need to confront her about her late work. How could you say that using an I statement? Okay, I'm going to give you a minute. I want you to just discuss with the person next to you. Think about it, pair it together, and then we'll share. So just talk to the person next to you. You have a coworker, and her work, she gives it to you, but she gives it late, and it's caused a problem. How could you start talking about it with her?
I'm just talking to myself right now.
Good. Do you want to get a partner?
No, I don't.
Okay. No one needs a partner. No man is an island. Does anybody have any ideas? Sure.
It's important to me that punctuality in the future it is important to be seen by all of us.
Okay. Yeah, that's pretty good. But you're addressing the future, not what's happening now.
Yes.
So that's good, but it only just pushes the ball into the future. You're not handling it in the moment. So you're good. Any other ideas?
It's important to me that you give me at least one reason why I shouldn't fire you.
Ooh, no, that's a no. No, you can't threaten people. That's not effective communication. That's just gonna make people defensive. One of the things you could just say is, next time I would appreciate if you let me know if you're going to be late.
Yeah, probably.
I would appreciate if you told me beforehand. Just let me know. I would appreciate it if you helped me by submitting the work on time. Things like that. Okay, your boss tells you that you need to do an extra task at work at the last minute. How can you politely talk to your boss? You don't want to do this extra work. You don't have time. What can you say to your boss? All right, you know what? Let's get some examples, and maybe that'll get you going. I know it's Friday. I know you just had an exam. Okay. So another thing we want to keep in mind is that when you're using I statements, it starts a discussion because you're telling somebody about what you think. So then they're going to, the logical reflection to that is they're going to tell you what they think and what they feel and what they want. So you've opened up a discussion. So what you're going to need to do is have evidence-based responses in order to let them see what you're saying. Evidence-based responses are things that are facts that you can use to help bolster your ideas. So how to get evidence. Find out what the problem in the conflict is. Get all the information you can. Don't start going off of assumptions or making things up in your head, letting yourself wander. This is how you get really angry and frustrated. Wait it out until you have all the information. Figure out what specifics are going on. Maybe there's something going on in their life, or there's another option that they haven't considered, and be really specific. Talk about the issue, not the person, right? So when we're making critiques like this, we're criticizing the issue, the conflict, not the person themselves. All right, here we go. So here's a conflict. A coworker hands in part of her work late. The worker. It's important to me that we deliver our report on time. Can you please let me know when I'll receive your work? I'm sorry, my son was sick last night and I had to care for him. I can get it to you by 5. I understood your situation. Please contact our supervisor, explain your situation, and let the supervisor know. So what's going on here? What do you see?
So there is a conversation, right?
Yeah? Mm-hmm.
Now they are both, like we said before, using the I statements, they are expressing their ideas, being subjective.
Mm-hmm.
And they are trying to reach a conclusion which would benefit both of them.
Yeah. Yeah, so exactly. So we're using I statements. Also, the person is getting the backstory, why it happened. And this is a good reason. If your kid gets sick, things happen. Life is not perfect all the time. Things come up. Plans change. And this also allows the other coworker this allows the worker to allow the coworker to take responsibility. Okay, you're the person that was late, this happened to you. Tell our boss so that they understand the situation and let them know what's going on moving forward. That way it resolves it and everyone has accountability and everyone's involved and everyone's clear. Next one. A student thinks he's been graded unfairly. Teacher, I would appreciate it if you could show me the problem with your exam. I'd like to see it. I can't. I lost my exam. The teacher, I'm sorry to hear about that, but it's my policy that I only review grades for students when I can see the original exam. Please keep track of your things for next time. What's happening here?
He's giving an excuse. What? I think the student.
Yeah, and how does the teacher clarify it without causing a conflict?
She gives reasons why she can't review their exam because it is a personal policy that she has to see the exam sheet.
Yeah, and usually these policies are things that are said beforehand or on the syllabus. So there's ways to go back to documents and statements to people have agreed on ahead of time to resolve the conflict. All right. So sometimes in communication, you're going to have to make a consequence for your actions. This is really difficult. So when you have specific evidence and a consequence, this gives you the confidence to back up your communication. So a consequence essentially in conflict is what you're willing to give into to allow the problem to be resolved. What you're willing to do, what you're willing to let go of in order to let peace continue. And a good consequence is one that gives the person that you're giving the consequence a choice, not an ultimatum. What's the difference between a choice and an ultimatum?
So an ultimatum is something that is mandatory. So you have to do. It's like you are ordered to do something. On the other part, for example, it's like a choice. He decides to do that. It's for their benefit. Either they, for example, understand that or not. You are, advising or suggesting something that is good for them, but of course, it's a choice, and it depends on that.
That's perfect. If your parents say like, if you don't become a teacher, I will disown you.
This is an ultimatum.
That's an ultimatum. You don't have a choice, really, right? But a choice is, I would like you to be a teacher. However, I want to hear what your ideas are. Or what could you do that would be like having the stability of being a teacher? What careers could you pick that would also be stable and influential? There's a difference between those two things, and one gives the other person a lot more freedom. For example, here's a conflict. Your boss needs you to work more hours at the last minute. Boss, Milda, please help me. Eledion can't come to the store today. We need you to take his shift this evening. Has this ever happened to somebody?
Yeah.
Yeah.
More or less, yeah.
Yeah. Milda, I can do that. However, I will need the day off on Friday to catch up on my classwork. Okay, I'll look at the schedule and see what we can do. So you've given the boss a choice. It's not no, but it's, I will do this for you, but I need you to do something for me. The relationship works that way. It's not one person bending all the way and the other person receiving everything.
Reciprocity.
Perfect. Does this make sense? Of course. However, sometimes when you give consequences, you're going to get resentment. Has anyone ever felt resentment? Resentment, frustration caused by unfair treatment. Yeah. So this is exactly what we don't want something to happen. We want the balance to continue so somebody doesn't feel like they're taking on too much or that they've given too much. So when you're building firm consequences, you're basically creating boundaries. So take a course of action. You're in the driver's seat. You're the one giving the consequences. So think about what you're actually willing to do. Don't make a consequence that you don't want to do. Don't offer up something that you actually don't want to do. That's going to cause resentment. Like if you tell your sister, if your sister asks you, oh, please, can I borrow your chapstick? I'm just going to take it out for tonight, just this one time, not a big deal. And you go, oh, okay, fine, take it. And then they lose it. Or worse, they give it to a friend. And now it's lost with the germs of everybody on it. Can you tell I have a sister and this is happening to me? So what, you don't want to do something that you're unwilling to deal with the result of. And again, offer up a choice. Give them an idea of what you could offer instead. And also make sure that the other person is the one making the choice. If you're the one giving the choices, don't let them just say, oh, whatever you want. Try to find something that you can both agree on. Because if you just make the consequence and then make the choice, there could be resentment. I always like to end a consequence by using the phrase, it's up to you. Because it allows the other person the chance to make up their own mind, and it has the other person give a vested interest. They see that they have an option, and that the two options are fair and just. For example, your friend asks to borrow your car again. However, whenever she takes the car, she never puts petrol in the car. She just returns it to you on empty.
One-way mirror.
Terrible friend. Okay, I'm talking to my dear friend Lydia. Lydia says to me, Loren, I have a job interview in Tirana. Yes! I'm so proud of myself. Can I borrow your car? Okay. I can lend you my car. However, I want you to put 8,000 of diesel into the car before you return it. Livia says, I can't afford that. I don't have a job yet. I'm going to get a job. Don't you get it?
You need the car, do you also need some extra cash, something?
Yeah. Well, what you could say is like, I get it. I see the point. You're right. I see you. However, I can't let you borrow my car if you don't have the money for gas. Have you thought of taking the bus?
It's up to you.
Or one taxi without pay. Taxi driver.
Yeah, or maybe you can make a friend with a taxi driver. See if that works. Yeah, or find another friend. It's your choice. It's 8,000 a diesel or another person. Okay, so here's one that I want you to try. We've had some practice. Let's do it, it's up to you. Your cousin Jenny from the US wants to visit you in Durrës for the summer. Woohoo! Jenny lives in Minnesota and she never gets to see the sea. It's cold and snowy and miserable like this 300 days a year in Minnesota. So she's excited. Honey! I'm so ready to spend the time at the beach with you this summer. It's gonna be awesome. My work has 1 week off they gave me, and it's in June. Lucky me. I can't wait to hang out with you. We're just gonna sit at the beach and get some sunshine and drink Aperol spritzes. Get bronzed. What do you say? How do you let down Jenny gently? What do you do? Okay, maybe talk to each other. Think, pair, share. Talk to each other. See how would you respond? What kind of choice would you give to? Okay, do we have any ideas? Of course.
Thank you. So, let's say I'm lady, I would say, Jenny. Okay, so I'd say, Jenny, I'd love to have you here during summer, but you know I have school and the time that we'll be spending together is going to be very limited. So it's up to you if you want to come at that time and sacrifice the time that we're spending together, or maybe you can find another solution at a better time when we can spend more time with each other.
Consider that I will be very busy with school.
Perfect. This is really good. Just be honest with Jenny. Tell her what the problem is. Don't feel guilty. Tell her the problem. Jenny, I love your idea. It's awesome, but I'm going to be in school. Can you change the time? Can you change the time? Anyone else have any ideas? Did they think of something different?
Please, cancel your flight.
This is great though, guys. Excellent. Yeah.
Jenny, I'd love to, but my Romanian girlfriend don't let me to come with you.
Okay. I like it, but it's not honest. And it's just gonna ask, then Jenny's gonna have a ton of questions. But I'm your cousin. We're not gonna make out, you know, tons of things.
Bring it at catalog.
Yeah. So I think something like what these guys said is a good idea. Okay. Ooh, that's difficult to see. So another thing you want to do is try to have a lot of confidence. You don't want to bend, you don't want to lie. That just causes more problems. So pick your battles. When you're talking to a person, if you give them a choice, you give them options, you treat them with respect, but they're still starting to get aggressive, just let it go. Walk away. Leave it alone. Stop communication. Not communicating is a form of communication. Walk away. Also, think about who this is benefiting. The same way you wouldn't just say, oh, can I help you? Oh, you didn't have your things turned in on time? What can I do to help you? Don't overgive. Wait for the person to meet you in the middle. And stay emotionally grounded. It's really easy in conflicts to get heated up, to get excited and fiery and angry. But the person who's the most calm usually wins. Why? Why?
Because he's not overpowered by emotions.
Exactly! You're not letting your emotional brain run the show. You're letting your logical brain run the show. So ways you can do that, take a nice deep breath. That always helps. In fact, if you take 3 big breaths in a row, you can pretty much change most of your moods, especially if you're starting to get panicky or agitated. And again, focus on being soft on the person and tough on the action. So don't make it about the person being bad or mean or stubborn or stupid. This person's just feeling very emotionally attached to the action. And remain committed to being fair and reasonable. Okay, how to have confident body language. She's doing a great job. She's a statue. One of the first things is, we talked about this in the beginning, direct eye contact. Again, if you're in Albania, don't go crazy with the eye contact. You don't need big crazy eyes. But be respectful, be thoughtful. Of course, if you're talking to somebody on the phone, you're not going to see their eyes, but keep a nice, calm tone. Boundary body gestures. If somebody starts to come into your space and tries to use the space to intimidate you, you can put up natural barriers, like crossing your hands, taking your foot and just putting it out in front of you. Those type of things create a natural barrier that tell the person, like, I'm not going to take on this information. I'm not going to let you come into my space like that. And then, of course, there's the power stance.
You gotta stay stoic.
Yeah. So you put your feet a little bit more than hips distance apart. Put your hands behind your back. Make yourself big.
And raise your chin up.
Sure. Yeah, just be really relaxed about it. But just standing in this position and delivering information can help you feel more confident. It's crazy. I highly recommend it if you have to give like a presentation or something like that in class, or you have to go to a job interview. Try to puff yourself up. Give yourself this stance. It makes you feel a lot more confident. Okay. And we talked about this a little bit in the beginning, but it's good to get but out of the place. When you put but in your speech, it becomes formulaic, and the person understands that what's coming after that but is going to fall off a cliff. I really love you. You're the most beautiful girl in the world, but I can't be your boyfriend right now. Gotta be alone. I'm a lone wolf. Like, no, you're an asshole. So, words you can use, and you can also translate these into Albanian, would be however, and, therefore, although. I like and a lot. You're a really thoughtful person, and you handed in your homework late. So you're giving people that contrast. Let's see it in action. Okay. You got an English teaching job. Congratulations. But it's in Pristina. And your parents want you to stay in Durrës. Here's the compliment. So you go home, you're excited. Mom, Dad! All that money we invested in my education, all that time, effort. Yay! I got a job, a teaching job at a real university, a big one in Pristina, and they're gonna pay me a lot of money. And all your parents hear is Pristina. oh no, that's too far away, that's in a whole different country, why do you want to go there? And no, you're not doing it.
So anyway.
So how could you respond to your parents without using but?
The video will need the presentation like this because it's difficult to understand what we are saying and what we are want to it's difficult for my parents.
So how could you respond to your parents if they say this to you?
It's important to me.
No.
It's a good price.
I know this is too far away, but
Well, you know what?
I know what.
But,
I know this is far away. However, I want to go there. It's a new opportunity for me.
yeah, great.
This is a great opportunity.
Yeah, you could
Again,
just,
please.
yeah, perfect. This is a really great opportunity for me. I can't miss it. You can visit me. These are things. Also, remember that no is a full sentence.
Yeah. Absolutely.
No is a complete full sentence. You don't need any more than that. No. So there are going to be people that are going to try to intimidate you with your tone of voice, and they're going to become assertive. They're going to want more out of you. Don't meet them at their level. When people feel threatened, they escalate their tone, they escalate their aggressiveness. So just be assertive, be clear, be confident, be grounded, and also it's really important to emphasize the vowel sounds in a lot of words because that helps to calm people down. For example, no, no, not now, not now, please stop, please stop, yo, yo, lutem. Yeah. You can do the same thing. If somebody escalates, drag those vowels out. Yo. Full sentence. Okay. Do you have any conflicts that you would like help resolving? We can group think, brainstorm them. Nobody? Wonderful. Albania, the land free of conflict. No?
Being Albanian is a problem.
Just the whole experience?
Yeah, the whole experience. The whole life is a problem.
Okay. Okay.
And we love it.
Okay, so conflict is more of like a spice. It adds flavor to existence. All right, then just ignore it all. No. I hope there are certain things from this that you can get. I did a webinar on this. It's on YouTube. If you'd like to see it, it has a lot of the same information, just different context. And if you need any information or you want to contact me, this is my email address. If you want that book, you can email me. I'll send it to you, and you can read about how to deal with difficult people in your own time.
Thank you.
Thank you.